Okay, as the 2023 presidential election draw closer, one major talking point is the seeming absence of certificates by presidential candidates, vice presidential candidates, as the case may be. The list is endless on this one. And that's our major talking point on the show. TMI, beautiful Monday morning. Let me thank our panelists. Joining us from Warri, that state, is the National President of Human Rights Defenders Association of Nigeria. I'd like to thank very especially Barrister Kingsley Omoirabo. Thank you for joining us, Barrister Omoirabo. Good morning. Okay, we'll be able to establish contact with him in the course of the program, but let me thank Barrister Abraham Oviawe. Barrister Abraham Oviawe is also a human rights lawyer. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonia and viewers. I'm pleased to be here this morning.
Bishop Akhalame is an author and a politician. Bishop Akhalame, thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, International. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, let me start off with here. What we have here, it says more presidential and vice presidential candidates have informed INEC that they have lost their academic certificates. Well, documents displayed by INEC show that apart from the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his running mate Kabiru Masari, whose respective non-disclosure of primary and secondary schools attended and claim of loss of certificate have continued to generate interest across the country. The vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, also said the secondary school certificate is lost. Others on this certificate losing streak, we have the YPP presidential candidate, Prince Abdul Malik Ado Ibrahim. And then you also have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who submitted an affidavit informing INEC that he has changed his name from Sadiq Abubakar, as it appears on his West African school certificate, to Atiku Abubakar. I mean, the list is endless. Then you also have the Action Democratic Party presidential candidate, Sani Yabagi, also submitted an affidavit saying that the name on his degree and West African certificate is different from what he currently bears. Interesting situation that we have. Let's get your take on this scenario that is playing out in a moment. This is an office that is highly exalted, but we know that constitutionally, what is the basic requirement to vie for the position of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Let me begin with you, Barrister Oviawe.
Thank you very much. For me, ordinarily, this is a sad commentary, I must tell you. First, the basic qualification to contest for the position of the President is provided for. Section 130 of the Constitution provides for the office of the President. Section 131 provides for the qualification with respect to becoming the President. And it says you must be educated up to secondary school level. The implication is that whereas the candidate must be educated up to secondary school level, it doesn't matter whether or not he failed his entire courses at that exam. As long as it is shown that he found himself in the class up to that time by way of a result, whether pass or fail, he is qualified. Painfully enough, if you go to section 318, particularly paragraph 3, with respect to what is the definition of secondary school level, it also tells you, sadly, that once the candidate has a primary certificate and he can read and write to the satisfaction of INEC, he is qualified to contest for the election. That's on one ground. That once the candidate also have the permanency certificate and he has done any course for a period of 1 year, he is qualified. Or once the candidate also has a permanency certificate and he has held any public office, either in the public or in the private sector for a period of 10 years, he is qualified. And such office is recognized by INEC So again, the summary is that whereas the person ought to be qualified up to a primary 6 level,
yes,
the rider of the other categories that we back up is subjective to INEC. It's not an objective qualification.
Okay.
And you ask me, the number one seat of this country, which is to lead and direct a country that is diverse, heterogeneous in nature, tribes, languages, religion, and you subject it to the hand of a man who, to the satisfaction of INEC, can read and write is ridiculous. And again, this shows the quality of leadership we have allowed ourselves we have given to ourselves over the years, arising from the qualification. I agree that the times and situations for which these laws were made in the past may have given birth to it at that time. But the National Assembly all through these years found a common ground to again, and because of such qualifications in the Constitution, it is convenient for anyone to come and tell you, like case laws have shown in the past, that my certificates are missing. One thing I can tell you, because if you look at it analytically, either of two things is happening. Either the candidate doesn't want to produce his certificate because he may have failed all the courses, and he doesn't want Nigerians to know that he was a never do well while he was in school. And as such, the convenient thing to do is to hide it and resort to our affidavit. With 200 naira, you can swear to an affidavit, and you present to Nigeria. And then only we allow it, then you go back to the court who will tell you that they are eminently qualified. Or they also don't want Nigerians to know within what period they attended this various school, thereby giving their age out from the intrinsic calculations. What the summary of all this is that our leaders are taking us for a ride, and it's time to hurt them. This is bringing these conglomerations of individuals without certificates, this conglomeration of individuals with missing documents must be sent to the trash can of history, and the time must be now.
Okay, let me pause you there. Let's link up with Barrister Kingsley Omerabo, who is joining us via Zoom. Barrister Omerabo, thank you again for joining us on TMI Beautiful Monday Morning. I'm sure you've been following the event as they unfold as it relates to missing certificates, swearing of affidavits just to have a legal backing that maybe at some point one had a certificate. The list is endless on the part of the APC, the PDP, YPP, ADC. We have this presidential candidate having one issue or the other about their certificate. But constitutionally, does it really matter? Does it matter, Barrister Omerabo? Looks like we're having a big challenge with audio there. I wouldn't know if it's coming from our end or it's from your end, Barrister Omerabo. Bit of an audio challenge there. So let's hope we can quickly fix that and get you to be with us on this conversation segment of the show, TMI Monday. Okay, while we hope to have that fixed, let me get Bishop Akarame. Yeah, this is more or less not restricted to one person. Like about 4 or 5 political parties have this problem of missing certificates for either the presidential or vice presidential candidate or both of them. What are your thoughts?
Very sad. Very sad that in a country like this, we handle education with levity because of the value we place on education. So it has come to, in every sector of the economy, that education does not have value anymore. That somebody wants to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you feel that he doesn't need certificate to run for that office. So Duke Okosu, let me remind you that for one to face the challenges facing Nigeria as a nation in the 21st century, we need the person needs to have what was called high intellectual capacity. You need integrity. You need education, good education. These are quick pro quo for president. You cannot just become a president because you have a school cert, even when the constitution says so. Because you need education to do what I called the value-added calculation and decision. The time has passed where we dwell on experience. See, what we need now are intellectuals, people who have what it takes to drive the economy, and you need education to do that. And no wonder that today, so many of our students are seeing all the every 2 hours today, they are under lock and key, because the leaders we have do not value education. So, we cannot hand over Nigeria to people without certificate. Let me tell you that the problem of Boko Haram, terrorism, corruption, economy, is not as worse as having a president without education, piloting the affair of the nation. We need a president that have education to captain the national ship in this present waves and storm issue in Nigeria. So what we need now is that the problem we are having now, first of all, are the political parties. The political parties organize what I call screening for various aspirants to screen their credentials. And you have an aspirant who do not have evidence that he has gone to school. You screen that person and you present such person to INEC. INEC has no business as in looking at the credentials of aspirants contesting election or candidate contesting election. It is the duty of the political party to screen their credentials and get the best hand to run the country, to be their flag bearer. So, how will somebody will not go to court and swear affidavit, I lost my credentials? You know what that means? It means that you cannot be a good what? You cannot be a good a steward. You cannot keep something. You cannot have the energy for you to keep. Because at the end of the day, you will not be accountable. If you cannot keep your certificate safe, and when they are needed, you cannot provide them, how can we now hand over the country to you to handle? Then at the time of accountability, you cannot account to the people what you have done. I think a time has come. This is a country where we have so many PhD holders. A country will have a lot of professors. A country will have scholars. People who are highly intelligent. People who are highly scholastic. But what do we have today? We have these people in this country, and a school cert is coming to become a president. And the certificates are not even there. Even when the Constitution says you must be educated to the level of school cert, provide it. They don't even have it to provide. They don't have it to provide.
So not having it to provide, is that enough ground for us to say they don't have it?
See, let me tell you something. In accounting, there are what is called source documents. If you say you have gone to buy something, you bought this computer for ITV, 300,000 naira. The management of ITV will not believe you until there is a source document, what is called the evidential document, backing the claim that you bought the laptop at 300,000 naira. The same thing applies to education. If you say you have gone to school, you are a degree holder, you have a BSc in accounting, you have a BSc in economic and statistics, there must be an evidential document backing it up that you are actually educated. So, why they cannot provide this, there's a problem. It is very simple now. If it is available after they went to school, if your certificate are missing, what do? You write to your school. I know that the governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki, was having challenges during the screening in the last election, goodbye election. What did they do? He wrote to the school he graduated from, and they issued another certificate to him. So why is it that these people cannot write? You know you want to contest an election. It means that they were not even prepared. They were not prepared. That means they feel that education is not important in governance. It is. In fact, it is a quasi-no that you must be educated, not even to school cert, even when the constitution provided. Because we have people, if it is school cert, why is that if you have a PhD, you must see added there? You want to prove to the people that you are highly educated. You have what it takes to handle the economy of Nigeria. So you should be able to bring all the certificates. If you don't have them, right to the school. Right to the school. That's why I said the problem emanated from the political parties. If you have a candidate who do not have credentials during the screening, what do? You tell him to write the school. Or put a call across to the school. Let them search. So organization do it. They do it. They have to go and verify. If Sonny Duke Okosu is a graduate of Abroad University, they check. Which department? Accounting. Please check. What year? 2005. Please check. So what are we now saying? If somebody say he went to Chicago, they're right. The political party, it is the duty of the political party to have written. Then they get all those things. Then if the man actually he mean well for this country, he ought to have done that when you have the mindset that you are going to run for political for an election. Duke Okosu, Nigeria need a president with a new mindset, a president that has the new skills, a president that have the knowledge required now to compete globally. To compete globally, we don't need analog leaders. Analog leaders. Okay. So if you are talking about experience, that solution you gave to a problem in 11th century ago can no longer solve that same problem now in 24th century. So you need to keep updating yourself. Go to school. So we don't need leaders who have not gone to school, who are not schooling. We need leaders who are still schooling. They are still educated. Let them come. So in this election, it is a time for political harmonization. Okay. If we don't go to school, just go and rest. You are not winning.
Barrister Obiawe, I've heard this a number of times that our political space is very unique. And sometimes, many times, if not all the times, the factors that determines the outcomes of election in more advanced democracies and civilized countries are quite different from what obtains here. All of these conversations, discussions, debates about absence of certificates, missing certificates for some of these presidential candidates, do you think it would have any meaningful impact on the election, as it were?
I agree totally with you that our space is unique. For example, let me give you an example. In the US, in the United Kingdom and in the University of America, there is no specific requirement for qualification in terms of educational qualification. For example, in the United States of America, as long as you are a natural citizen of America, that's clear citizen by birth, or even if you have resided in the country for a period of 14 years, there is no specific requirement for qualification, whether it's a high school level or possibly you have done up to master's level. But in that climb, you dare not come and tell them that your qualifications are missing. You dare not go there and tell them that I can't remember where I kept it, that the military came to invade my house. They are missing, when they know that you can easily stroll into the records and you will have it. Yeah. Before you even make such statement, they have presented your records to you. Only in this country, you are telling a man that he doesn't have so and so he tell you to go and verify. When they said told Obama that he was not an American, he published his birth certificate the next day. Very simple way of making things easy. Only in this country they tell you, if you don't believe me, go to court. And the man keeps the document he claims he has in his pocket.
And ask you to go to court.
And ask you to go to court. And ask you to go to court. I remember very strongly, just a digression, when they were to pass this bill for pension for governors and deputy governors in the House of Assembly. They called for a quasi section of stakeholders. We went there. We were interfacing with the members of the House of Assembly. The next speaker told me, Abraham, this is not for grammar. You are not comfortable. We are going to pass it. Go to court and challenge it. We are letting you know the danger. You are telling me that if we are not comfortable with it, we pass it. We should go to court. That shows you the mentality of our client. Coming to your question, I concede very strongly that because of the nature of our electoral system, where you will not have the sanctity of the ballots, where INEC, the impartial umpire can act with reckless abandon, none have been sent to prison, where the ruling class who are to contest an election are those who appoint the umpires. In a skewed process, they even appoint members of their political party to be the umpires. You agree that in such kind of election, we can't have a situation that operates in advanced and developed clients. Therefore, what political party looks at, quite painfully and sad, in a country that ought to have grown beyond this shameful situation, is that they look at those first with financial war chest. Those who have the capacity to deceive the youth and galvanize and redirect them on the path of ensuring they win back all cost. But let me assure you, Mr. Sonny Duke, that with the momentum, with the movement that is driving currently in this country, undermine the movement that are on peril. The people are speaking loud and clear and eloquently towards the direction of redirecting the ship of leadership towards taking us to a place where we can determine and have a government acceptable by all. Let me also assure you that the days of grandfathers, the days of great-grandfather Methuselahs, what is wrong with our country? Advanced country with larger economy times 20 of this country are handing over their countries to young minds. We are still running after grandfathers. Those who by our system, they say at 65, you are supposed to retire. Justice Mary Odili retired a few weeks ago when she became 65 from the Supreme Court. It means by our own thinking and by our own plan, it's a time for her to go and rest. But why is it that we recruit our leaders after retirements? We wait for them to exceed 65 before we start running around them as those who have the capacity, but whereas.
Because they have the experience.
Experience! Of which they have gathered with the old order that have done no good to us. Experience for which they have failed in the last 50 years to build one healthcare center for which they all run out of this country to get healthcare delivery. The amount that was spent in both primaries, it tells you the nature of the country we have found ourselves.
All right. Let me get to Bishop Akala.
God,
yeah.
we lead the people to liberate themselves as we approach 2023.
I asked a question just now, Bishop Kalame, that all of these scenarios that is playing out with absence of certificates or lack of certificates would definitely not have any meaning on the election. What will have meaning on the election, do you know?
Well, you see the awareness now, the cautiousness of the electorate tells you that it will have meaning. The people want to take back their country. This country should not be handed over to people without credentials. The country must not be handed over to people who are not well read. This country must not be governed by people who are all professionals. So, the people will go to the field. I told them, I said, go. They said the vote will not count. I said, no, it will count. Unlike before. Go to the field. When you vote, your vote will count. So if you don't have what it takes, you don't have credentials, you don't have the age to run this country, you don't have good health, you don't have what to bring to the table, the people will not vote for you. So that is what will count in the election. So in this regard, I want to make a passionate appeal to every electorate outside there. If you have not got your PVC, go and get it. If you have not registered, get registered. Make sure that your PVC is not with INEC. Get it. On the day of the election, go to the field. And I've always said to you people that once you have the PVC, you are a custodian of power. You decide who become your president. You decide who become your governor. That is the way to go. The only way they can rig your election is when you refuse to go to the field to vote. If the number of those that will vote in the election are more than those that will not go, they will not have the chance to what? To rig the election. Let's go massively there. What Nigeria is now is revolution and the poll. We go in there, vote for the right candidate. Enough is enough. So you do Kokosu. You think the way we are now, we are comfortable. The economy is not growing. The economy is not growing because we don't have people who have the mental capacity to fix the economy.
All right, let me just take a point from Barrister Kingsley Omarabo. We're trying to establish a connection with him via Zoom, but it doesn't seem to be connecting properly. Barrister Omarabo, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Tony Jones.
Okay, this is a very interesting subject, considering the fact that not one, not two, several of the presidential candidates and their vice can't seem to find their certificates. They don't know where their certificates are, and they resorted to filing affidavit. But you know quite well, in line with the Constitution and the Electoral Act, this really doesn't matter in terms of qualification to contest for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why is there so much hue and cry about it then?
Thank you so much. You see what I feel, really? I think their legal advisors are not up to date. The provision of the Constitution is quite clear. The provision of the Constitution says either a West African certificate examination attempt or equivalent training to that level, which means whether you attended secondary school or not, if you attend a training in the mechanic workshop, in the fridge repairers workshop, the tailoring workshop, that's equivalent to the training you would have had in the secondary school. When I mean secondary school, not necessarily mean grammar school. It means a secondary training after primary school. You are qualified to contest. Be that as it may, we agreed. That is the provision of the Constitution. As I said, the Constitution was made in 1960, 1963, 1979, 1999. We ought to have then reviewed that condition. But at that time, there were not many people who were educated. I can tell you, the president of Nigeria, first president, not the degree or the degree holder. His fellow contestant, Babin Wolo, or the degree holder. But the northern candidates, Tafa Balewa and Ahmad Bello, were school set. So deliberately, that condition was made to favor them. But they've all grown now. They are now established. Why are we still waiting? Why are we talking about school set? But even then, honestly speaking, do we need a certificate to rule this country? Do we need pieces of paper to present for can be a leader? Look at, let's take for example Muhammad Buhari, President of Nigeria. He was once a governor, was once a minister, was chairman board of NNPC. He was a head of state. After all this experience, we are still talking about certificate. He said, I agree that he may have made a monumental mistake for not performing very well. It's not because he didn't go to school. Now we have Atiku who has a certificate who said his school certificate does not appear, he didn't answer now. People change name as time goes on. His new name is Sadiq. Maybe that was his name in secondary school. As time goes on, we have reason to change it. Or the certificate belongs to his brother. Okay, we come to my brother, the vice president candidate, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. Okowa is a medical doctor. I have been in practice. It's a product of the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Okowa was a commissioner. Dr. Okowa was SFG. Dr. Okowa was governor. He's a governor. And is it now that he cannot longer tell us that it's a great missing? But my problem with them, if they don't know you can apply for citizen white coffee and they go to that same day, do we need to raise an alarm and not have my certificate is missing? Then there's something wrong. You are hiding. That's what people are likely to think. Otherwise, if your certificate is missing, go and ask for the citizen or this affidavit. Before affidavit is even sworn, must have presented the photocopy, a certified true copy. That people will say, okay, let me say that the original is missing. If you don't have the original, bring your CTC. Again, most of the events I attended are here in Nigeria. I have my fears anyway. Like the last speaker said, Obaseki had the problem, he went to university, was reproduced. Let us not go into that. We know how corrupt our system is, and then it's possible anybody can give any result and backdate it. So whatever it is, we do not really need paper qualification. We have the experience, we have the exposure, we have all it is to lead the country. Then let the electorate decide. I'm afraid we are going to a situation where the court now decides for who will lead us, no longer the populace.
All right, but Mr. Omar, but let me quickly anchor this point with you.
Okay.
From what you said, these certificates, comments, and their conversation will really not determine the outcome of the election or influence the election, as it were. So what do you think is that extraordinary thing that will shape this election quickly?
Thank you. You see, the populace these days are aggressive. They're angry with the incumbent government. In fact, anything they can do to change the will, whether you bring all the degrees in this for no longer you are in the ruling party, but the ruling class are afraid of. Nobody wants to echo near you. Me, I'm not a big fan. I am an APC. I'm a new candidate. But the truth is that whether you like it or not, we the era that failed this country. So they are looking for alternative. Whether is not count at all, do not matter. If the candidate that can deliver has even no primaries, the people will vote for him because people are aggressive now. They are very angry. They are revolting. This is a real revolution that you cannot stop. The time has come. We want to get a candidate who we do not may not have structure, may not have anything, but the people are willing. I only pray that the INEC should have the will to give us our real result and not the manipulated result. But the problem is INEC is answerable to someone appointed them, no matter how the presentation.
All right, let's not jump into conclusions, Bryce Omerabo. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, Bryce Omerabo there via telephone just added some value to our conversation. Gentlemen, quickly, the last point on this. People will be talking about a movement, a third force. Is this a sustainable platform that is growing, that people are talking about? Vice Obiawe, quickly.
We cannot be too sure, but efforts will be made because of the lawlessness of leadership. We saw what happened during the NSAS protest. I'm a very practical individual. The NSAS protest was a movement as it were. It was infiltrated, and government came out, used military force to repress the people. But one thing you'll be assured that as we proceed towards the 2023 election, the courage, Nigerians will rise up in courage to resist leadership. Nigerians will rise up in courage to speak in unison. Nigerians will rise up in courage to make their choice and position known. We will wait to see what leadership will do. That will determine the fate and shape the pattern for which we will proceed. But be assured that we will not be lacking in courage and the will to take this country in our hands.
All right, Bishop Bakalam, quickly.
The motivation will not redo, because people have look at the major two political parties, and they feel that this is not what we want. We need somebody else who can drive the economy. So that is the direction they are looking at. So you see, in this movement, you cannot stop anybody.
This looks like a sectional thing.
What sectional?
Sectional, regional thing, like a south thing, or a southern part of Nigeria thing.
No. I tried when I was in Abuja about 3 weeks ago.
That's a cosmopolitan.
No. Let me tell you something. Yes. From there, I tell Nasarawa State, the people are not happy. Even the houses are complaining. They are telling you they need a better leader. That's what I'm telling you. They will tell you that it doesn't matter where the leader will come from. It can come from anywhere. As long as that person can feed Nigeria, everybody is hungry. So what are you talking about? This has nothing to do with the religion or maybe geopolitical zone. No. We need a Nigeria who can unite this country. A Nigeria who can change the narratives of this country. A Nigeria who can come and say, let me restart this country. Let me make Nigeria the way it used to be, the giant of Africa, the way it is written in the book, which is not in reality. That's the kind of president we need now. So the people will do that when they get to the field. So I'm not worried, because if we miss it this time around, Nigeria is going to suffer again in another 8 years. Because the suffering Nigerians are going through right now is something they cannot explain. And it is the failure of leadership.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's much we have on this segment of the show. We'll take a break, bring you breakfast sports. I'll be back here with my crew to cap up our conversations on TMI Monday. Don't forget that at 9, we'll be bringing you Business Renewable with Dennis Ofik. Stay with us.